Hello ladies, this is a video just to go over the basic 4-pack that all of you received or will be receiving very soon, and some of you who also got your color correcting shade. If you just got the 4-pack as a pack itself, it didn't come with it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I am also showing you what I do before my makeup, which is a sunscreen and a primer. This is totally optional. You normally don't need primer necessarily, but you can. I'm of course very pale and I'm really oily. And so primer, the sunscreen helps with keeping the sun out, and the primer helps my makeup stick a bit better, I think. So I'm starting with that step. Okay. Now let's do some makeup. First of all, most or all of you do have this brush. This is the 3D brush. A lot of you also got the cleaner. I will be doing that a little bit later. You can apply your color with this tip. You can see it's kind of a pencil shaped tip. So it does do the dotting and the contouring and things like that pretty well. I think you get too heavy of coverage with that sometimes. So I think the simplest thing to start with is always your fingers, which is what I had most of you do if you came in person. So I'm going to start. The first step is always your color correcting, which was not originally the part. So your color correcting shade, and if you need help, it is back on your email, or you can text me and I'll remind you of which color it is. What you should have is you should have a lip and cheek, a contour, which is definitely your darkest. I think most of you got olive, which is what this is. And then either 2 or 3 highlight colors. The basic pack came with 2, one being your brightening, which I'll show you in a bit, and one being your main shade that matches your skin tone the best. Out of those 3, if you ended up with the color correcting, your color correcting should be the darkest out of those 3. It's a shade or 2 darker than your main shade. So if you're confused, go with that. So darkest of these first would be your color correcting. Color correcting anywhere where you see under eye issues, if you feel like you have that kind of blue or purpley under eye and you want to mask that, any sunspots or aging issues, as well as acne, or just any kind of redness if you have any rosacea, inflammation, any kind of red areas. So always start by color correcting. It just gives those areas that central focus. Okay. All right, step 2 would be your highlight. So your brightest color in here, your highlight, and that is going to basically go straight down the middle of your face, anywhere where the light would hit, inner eye, and at an angle going from the edge of your eye up. So let's do our highlight. Lightest shade. Cupid's bow, chin, forehead. You can do like a little 3 lines if you have extra on your finger, and then I dip back in, inner, inner, and outer. And again, you messing around and doing it is going to teach you how much or little you like. So start with less. Less coverage is always best at first, especially if you're learning or if you aren't used to wearing a lot of makeup anyway. All right, moving on to step 3. Step 3 is your contour. So that should be pretty obvious. That's definitely your darkest in that kind of brownie shade. I always get a little brown, mix it on both fingers. I start with my cheekbones. So you're going to look for your natural cheekbone, kind of where does it shadow on its own. Start in the corner by your hairline and stop right about under your eyes. If you can see like a line going down to your cheek right in there, or start there if you're kind of not sure, and then go all the way into your hairline. So it just kind of adds to that natural shadow that you have going up, lifting your face. And of course, we're gonna blend at the end, so I know I look crazy. All right, next contour a little bit is my forehead. I, again, do the same thing with 2 fingers. I start kind of in the middle and then I go down in a line until you get to where your forehead kind of dents in right there a little bit, like flattens out, and then just kind of thicken that line up. I go right along my hairline right there. Next would be your nose. I don't try to use a whole lot on my nose. You want to keep your nose line as close to that little bitty one as you can, because you don't want to widen it. You want to make your nose look more narrow, if anything. So as you can see, I'm trying to get right on either side of that brightening line. And then last, if you want, and honestly, the nose and this jawbone would be the optional ones. In my opinion, the cheekbones and the forehead are the ones that give you the most dimension. I would say the jaw is just if you feel like that's an area you don't care for, or if you feel like you're starting to get those jowls, then you can definitely do that. And if you like the way your nose looks, then leave your nose alone. Step 4 would be your main shade. So now you are looking at the in-between of your highlight shades, the shade that is the closest to your natural skin type. And you are just gonna put that anywhere where the contour or the brightening are not, that you want to have a little more coverage, except for right above that contour line, because you want to save that for your blush. So I always start right here in between the contour of my cheek and chin area. And I'm just putting little dots just so I get light coverage wherever there's not much makeup. Same thing on either side of my forehead, just like a dot on each. And then that's good. You can do a dot like right here above your eye if you feel like you want to just kind of blend everything, make it all seamless, and if you have like veins and stuff like that. Okay, so that's all. I'm not gonna put too much of that. All right, we are on step 5, which is lip and cheek. I do my cheeks first and then blend, and then I do my lips after everything's blended. I always smile. And then I start with a bigger thumb spot on the like fatty, whatever you call that, the big part of your cheek. And then I go up kind of at that same angle that my contour and everything went. So you are again just doing the fingerprints or dots, whatever you want to call them, going up. So this is step 5, is just adding some blush. Okay, it is time for blending. Start by cleaning your brush if you had not done that previously. So of the 3D brush, this is the pointy end, this is the blending end. So I'm just going to take my spray. Again, you can use that the same time you do your makeup. I just sprayed 3 or 4 on there, any kind of washcloth, microfiber cloth, and I'm just rubbing like little circles and doing the little stippling like I do for my makeup. And that usually gets just about all of what was old on there. Okay, you now have 2 options for this next step. I guess we are on step 6 officially. You can either blend as is and it will blend just fine, or you can spray some setting spray. In the summer, I have this, which has a little bit of SPF, which is kind of nice for refreshing later. So you can spray setting spray, adds a little bit of moisture, which helps blend a little bit easier, and it also sets all your makeup so that it doesn't run if you're out and sweating or gonna wear it all day long. You have a little bit more protection. But I'm going to blend without it just to show you guys that that works just as well too if you want to skip that. I always close my lips. Always go lightest to darkest. So try to start with where you have the brightest parts and then move into the contour last and the blush and contour last. And again, you're just stippling. So you're just kind of pushing right in there, pushing. You're not like swirling really, you're just kind of like stippling, bouncing, pushing. If you feel like you're having some spots that aren't blending, you could push, but just kind of stipple and kind of go around in a circular motion with each area, if that makes sense. So just trying to finish up my lightest areas before I move into anything darker. That's where this other pointy side does come in handy. If you're blending like around your eye, you want to be a little bit more specific and not have to close your eye the whole time. Okay, all right, I'm gonna head towards my contours now, starting with my nose. Just gonna kind of stipple up and down along the side, along the top. I'm gonna go ahead and do my jawline. With the jawline, you wanna make sure you almost push down a little bit on this one just to kind of get it towards your neck so that you're not seeing a big line. You're just seeing the shadowed effect where it's making your jawline look a little bit nicer, more chiseled. Okay, and then into the forehead. See where that line is? I don't want that. So I'm gonna kind of blend into the forehead. It's a nice little glow. It kind of looks like you got a tan, even though I didn't. Okay, so I think I've got most of those, and I try to aim for the cheeks last because I really don't want to do those as much. Because for one, the colors are nice, but they're not too strong. A lot of their colors are very neutral, so you don't want to blend them too much and make it washed out. And then that cheekbone, you almost want a nice cheekbone look. But if you feel like your makeup's too much in any area, always, look closely in the mirror. If there's any spots you feel like you need to blend more, blend more. If you feel like it's too much, you can always use the perfectors. SEINT's is called the sponge perfectors, and you put those underwater, squeeze all the water out as much as you can. You can just do that and bounce it off of your skin to get that water off. You can also spray your setting spray in here. SEINT also has a really good setting spray that I use when it's not in the summer and I need extra sunscreen. So that is also something to keep in mind. But that is your basic, your makeup strategy set. I am gonna go ahead and show you the eyes today. Those are not part of the official steps, but you can always do eyes afterwards. So let's do it. Everything's blended. I also don't want to forget my lips. So I'm going to go back in with that exact same shade. This one is August. A lot of you, if you came in person, I had you try this one. It is my new favorite. It's kind of a neutral, but it's almost got a little purpley tone to it. So yeah, I again just apply with my fingertip. I am also going to do a little bit of eyebrows. My eyebrows are curly and they get a little unruly, so I brush through them first. I then look to see if there's any sparse areas, right in there kind of bugs me, and I feel like it doesn't look totally finished and put together if I want my makeup done for the night. So I'm just going to take, it's my line/brow brush. So if you have something like this already, or if you ordered one, you can do this step. So I'm just taking it and pushing it in to my contour, just get a little bit on there. And I am just gonna go in where I think I need a little bit of some fake hairs. Usually towards the back is where mine looks kind of thin. And sometimes kind of in the front. You can do a little and then brush it. See where you're looking. Good. I mean, not really a huge difference, but a little bit better. And then the other side, get a little bit more on my brush. Go in. Yeah, that's the spot that needs it. And I just kind of push. So my goal is just to make little bitty lines that are similar to eyebrow hairs. And then other side, brush it again.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, Alexa. Okay, so that looks better to me. And then I'm also going to do the same thing and make eyeliner. So same thing, also using my contour color, dipping it in, getting a little bit, and then when I do eyeliner, I pull out my lid a bit. I always start middle, kind of go to the back. So you can see it kind of defined it, but it's not black, it's not too dark. It's just a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. Just giving that top lid a little bit of definition. Go along. See if I can get in there a little bit. I don't like too much. There. I like it very, like, I guess tight lining. Okay. Final step you can also do with your contour is just use a little bit of your contour in your eye area for a little dimension. It's kind of like a semi eyeshadow. I do what's called, I call it the V. So I go right where my eye socket bends, and then I go down towards the corner of my eye, and then I come across the lash line, just like that, and kind of back up, and then I look to see, kind of rub that into that crease. And last and final step is mascara. And you of course can use any mascara of your choice. That part is up to you. I always use Too Faced. I don't worry about curling my eyelashes, but you are welcome to. When I'm doing mascara, I kind of shake it in, which I think gives me a little bit of thickness towards the bottom of my lashes. Okay, pretty much done. Last of my little advice would be, if you're like me and you tend to get mascara all over your face and you don't want to mess up the makeup that you already did, you wait until it dries. So I'm going to come back in a couple of minutes and show you. Okay, last little thing I'm going to show you is just how to get that stuff off. So you just kind of barely go across it the opposite way with your spoolie. You can also use a Q-tip, but as long as you do that after it all dries, it shouldn't pull off any additional makeup. Okay, finished look.